elections is barely 2 weeks away. And when you look at both presidential candidates, Justin, for the White House and their political history, it's clear that Democratic candidate Joe Biden does have the upper hand, especially when it comes to foreign policy. He's been on the Foreign Policy Committee. He's even headed it. He has been in power. He has been in the White House with U.S. President Barack Obama. But President Trump has had little or very little understanding of foreign policy, very little interactions too with countries. You've seen what he's done with North Korea. You've seen what he's done with China. He claims a deal that he's done with China and so on. But yet it's not particularly clear what America's foreign policy is towards the rest of the world, especially towards Nigeria. When you compare that, with some of the decisions that the administration has made, visa policies, education, and so on.
So this administration has a very bare bones skeletal approach towards Africa. As I said, trade and investment is a strong suit, but it's been pretty negative when it comes to opening their doors to Nigerians. And we know that Nigerians are some of the most educated, successful immigrant communities in the United States, and the United States benefits in a myriad of ways from Nigerians who visit the United States or who become citizens and part of the diaspora. And I think it's really unfortunate that there has been such a narrow myopic view about sort of migration issues or trade or some of these other issues. I think, I work for a bipartisan think tank. I don't represent the Biden campaign, but it's clear to me that you would see some restoration of older approaches under a presidency under Joe Biden, right? A welcoming of immigrants, a more nuanced approach to China, thinking about partnerships, particularly in multilateral settings. President Trump has been very negative against the WTO. He tried to open up a reinvestigation of Adesina at the African Development Bank. I think all those things will change under Joe Biden. Doesn't mean that Africa is going to be his number one priority. He's got a lot of things he has to do to get this economy back working, to deal with COVID. And he's got partnerships all over the world that have been damaged by President Trump. But I think that he is going to be focused on a more balanced relationship with Africa, one that focuses on governance and human rights. We are how many days now into the hashtag End SARS movement, and the U.S. Embassy hasn't said anything about whether it supports the protesters or whether it stands against police brutality. I can't imagine under a Biden administration that we won't see much stronger statements about our solidarity with African publics to get, rights, to get the rights that they deserve that is embedded in their constitutions.
You don't think that will be there will be some hypocrisy there? The U.S. is speaking about the NSAS protests, considering just a few months ago the U.S. had to deal with Black Lives Matter protests.
I think that the United States is in a really unique position.
U.S. is
And
speaking about
as
the
you said in my
NSAS
earlier, when you recounted my bio, I've worked for the US government in the
considering
past. I
just
don't work for
a
the US
few
government
months ago
anymore.
the U.S.
But
had
I
to
do
deal
think
with
that
Black
US
Lives Matter
diplomats fell into
protests.
this trap of telling Africans, and particularly Nigerians, that you should model yourself or emulate after the United States because we've got this democracy thing down. We've got, all of these things